I am Alfie Animus, and welcome to the Monday edition of the Associated Guest Show here at the Bear in Mind channel. Today, Ghost of Yotei hiding its sales numbers, and we all know what that means. Battlefield 6, before you buy, I just want to get a little bit of it because I'm hearing great things. Going to do a little bit of the Invincible Season 4 official teaser trailer, much sooner than a lot of us anticipated. Thank God. Hopefully the animation doesn't suffer for it like last time. I was gonna do a little bit about Hassan calling out Asmongold again, but I don't know if I'll have time because I really want to get to Bill Burr crashing out over all the shit he's gotten about him basically going full Tucker Carlson about Qatar. Yes, that's right. Bill Burr is to Qatar or Qatar as Tucker Carlson is to, oh wow, look at these grocery stores in Russia. But we'll get into it first, starting with Miss Vera Dark. Go show her your support. I'm going to click a like right here before we get started, and here we go.
Ghost of Yotei's hype level has absolutely tanked over the past couple of days. The game hasn't even been out that long, and there's basically nobody talking about it anymore except for the people who are shilling for Sony.
Look, and if you actually like this game, no one's coming after you. No one's coming after you. Please don't jump in the fray of these things because all it's going to do is upset you. The only people who should be involved with this are the people who love the Ghost of Tsushima and were really upset by things like, and again, the fact that people who are upset by games like Assassin's Creed Shadows not being traditionally Japanese. Again, normally when you're playing these games, you're playing a fake made-up character thrown in the middle, interacting with real, actual people. And on Ghost of, sorry, not Ghost, in Assassin's Creed Shadows, for example, people were upset for the fact that, one, you're playing as someone who exists in history. It's never happened before. Not as far as Assassin's Creed. So honestly, if it had been like DLC or its own little separate mini game, like was it Liberation, something like that, no one would have cared. No one would have batted an eye. The same thing with this Assassin's Creed that they're talking about that would have been set in the Civil War. You would have played an escaped slave, basically Django Unchained, but Assassin's Creed style. That sounds fucking awesome. 9 times out of 10, most people, especially when it comes to people on Dear Vera's side here, people would have thought that was awesome as long as the story was good, as long as it was somewhere close to Django Unchained or it didn't beat you over the head with its messaging first. And the first thing that we hear about it wouldn't be, oh, this and this, oh, culturally, oh, diversity, oh, this, oh, that, or, oh, the runaway slave's also gay. Before we hear anything about story, if we had heard story and the concept of the game as a whole or any new innovations coming to this version of the game, and then we hear that later maybe, or we learn it in the game, nobody gives a shit. Literally nobody gives a shit. Like maybe one person on the internet or some nameless person without a check mark on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, someone with like 15 followers, like some of the people who shit post me on there, no one would care. Literally no one would care except for them. And they aren't even people. The nameless 15 follower people on X, like the ones giving me shit this morning. We might get to that later, but instead we get all these needless, and people who actually like the game because they're normies or whatever will get upset that people who don't like the game because they've been gamers for or fans of the series for X amount of years say something bad about it, and then they feel the need to jump in half-cocked because they don't know anything about it except for they like the game. Just stay out of it at that point. Unless someone actively attacks you and then, attack them, call them a dick, or do a little bit of research and then attack them from that perspective, even if you agree with them. I do it all the time.
Sony and Sucker Punch. But while Ghost of Yotei's viewership has plummeted on streaming platforms and we still haven't gotten any sales numbers from the studio, a lot of people are questioning if this game truly has reached the heights that the media is saying. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, typically studios like to boast. If their game is doing good, they post sales numbers basically every single day. They'll say there's 1 million copies sold, 2 million copies sold, 3 million copies sold, but so far they have not said a peep, which definitely is a major red flag because they are facing a lot of backlash right now. And if they truly wanted to own the toxic gamers, they would just show an image that says, oh, we've sold 3 million copies, and that would be the end of the discussion. But that isn't happening. And while we have seen in some places it's selling pretty good, or at least that is the story that we're getting, it seems very suspicious that the viewership is tanking on social platforms. A lot of people are no longer talking about it. Trends are going down, and yet the media is still saying it's doing great and you guys are lying about this title. So,
and again, 9 times out of 10, if a game's doing very well, they'll come out with straight up sales numbers or just be pumping it up. You know, Ghost of Yotei is the #1 game of the year. This place and this place and this place says it's a ride from start to finish. Boom, 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 boom. And all these things start posting up, and it shows all these sources, quote unquote, reputable sources. But instead, we're probably going to see something more along the lines of Dragon Age the Veilguard, where they'll try to skew the numbers and say, and this will be like after they put it up for free on whatever service, PlayStation, whatever their thing's called. I don't know. I haven't played on PlayStation in a long time. And they'll have everyone playing it on the free weekend or as soon as it drops to be free to play for a little bit. Might have been on Xbox. Might have been on Xbox Game Pass. But one of those things I know it was on almost immediately. And they put the player count from that first weekend as the player count overall instead of saying how much it sold. These are the games a lot of these places play. And it's disingenuous. It really is. I know a lot of people don't care, and they're just like, oh, you know, Alfie, who cares? But this is what they do to try to get you. It's the same thing. They do the same scheme with elections, with poll numbers, and movies. Like they'll say, it's the best #1 at the box office, when they won't tell you is the box office is really low lately. Like, except for Superman and Jurassic World Part 67, there's not a lot of people going to the movie theaters these days, which is a shame because movies like Sinners get passed up for the most part. It did suitably well, but if this had been if this had been even 2 years ago, let alone pre-COVID, Sinners would have been a huge hit, probably close to $1 billion. Especially if it come out the summer after Black Panther and Ryan Coogler. Is it Ryan Coogler? Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure it's Coogler. You know, he was on everyone's minds because Black Panther, while not being the best Marvel movie, it was definitely up there, and it was great. It wasn't the first black superhero movie. That would be Blade, I'm pretty sure. You know, the one that kicked off all the Marvel movies being good and doing well in theaters, and it was rated R. But that's neither here nor there. I apologize. Tangent over.
Let's start off with this article. This is the one that is being touted right now by the media and X-users, saying Ghost of Yotei follows in Tsushima's footsteps, dominates Japanese charts on the PS5. It says that according to the latest Famitsu software charts, as reported by Jamatsu, the PS5 exclusive shot straight to #1, shifting 120,196 copies. As always, it should be pointed out that these Japanese charts only count physical sales, so it is assumed that you can at least copies, double that figure when taking digital transactions into account. Now, first of all, 120,000 copies is not a lot, but I do understand that physical sales have tanked over the past.
And also two things. One, yes, she's about to say the physical sale thing, but also two, American-made games, even about Japanese culture, do not do well in the East, and that's simply because they hate leftist policy. We'll just be frank. That's 100% what it is. That, and they prefer their style of game over our style of game. That's just fact. Basically, for them, it's like watching anime in the 90s. There's some of them, and it's growing, but not enough to really be a dominating force.
Couple of
Not like
years, and we're
anime.
headed towards that all digital future that the main companies like Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo want. Though, to go into an article and say that, well, it's doing so good physical and you should assume that you can double the figures is crazy, because you can't assume anything, and that's just the truth about sales like this. Sure, you're personally allowed to say, I think it's sold double, I think it's sold triple digital, but there's no proof to back that up. And when you are the access media, right, and you want people to trust you and you're supposed to have journalistic integrity, you probably shouldn't be going into this saying it's assumed you can double that figure. Though that's not here nor there. I don't go to the access media to get solid information at this point, and we're also hearing a rumor that Ghost of Yotei ads were quickly scaled back by Sony Japan due to collapsing sales. Of course, take this with a grain of salt, but it is an interesting rumor. It says a source close to Sony.
And yes, that Park Place is associated with like WDW Pro and Doomcock and Midnight's Edge and all that stuff. They are heavily biased, but their sources are usually solid. Well, maybe not Doomcock, but the rest of them, their sources are usually solid. Doomcock, his sources are usually good, but a lot of the stuff he puts out, and he'll say his speculation factor when it comes to a lot of his stuff. It's neither really here nor there. But as far as that Park Place and WDW Pro, their sources are pretty good. Pretty good. I would say, definitely. I mean, normally I'd say good enough for government work, but this is even better than that. This is probably like, instead of D student, this is more like B student.
Sony has told that Park Place that Sony Japan has quietly scaled back its marketing push in paid advertising for Sucker Punch's Ghost of Yotei less than a week after its launch. According to the source, the decision comes in response to disappointing sales trends and a desire not to lose money on a game that has a declining sales trajectory. Now, I do think that this game had a plethora of problems surrounding it. Of course, you had them replacing Jin Sakai with Atsu. You had them pushing a very generic plot that we just saw done in Assassin's Creed Shadows with No Way. You have Erika Ishii, who's controversial, some absolutely.
Yeah, Erika Ishii is openly Antifa and is happy and posting happy things. And a lot of the team at Sucker Punch is also posting a lot of really despicable stuff about the murder of Charlie Kirk, the assassination. And I know you really shouldn't, the art and the artist, separate them and all that, but the same way, like, I'm old military, and I've worked in several companies, and especially when you have it, when you're like, if you're wearing the company uniform and you go out, you can't go out and like slap people in public in your company uniform. Otherwise, you make that company look bad, and you'll probably get fired. The same with this. If you, with your company account or your company advertised account with your name on it and the company you work for's name on it, and you go out and say a lot of stuff that's horrible and you don't expect backlash, I mean, come on, man. It's just, it's silly. You're silly.
Disgusting statements made by developers on this project, and it just didn't seem like it was going to live up to the hype. Now, again, I always expected it to sell similar to what I thought Assassin's Creed Shadows would sell, which is in the 3 to 4 million copies range. I don't think that this is going to hit even close to the heights of Tsushima, which is over
No.
10 million copies at this point.
And speculation and early projections are showing that this is, I think, less than half. I don't have those numbers with me right now, but I did see them over the weekend. There are unofficial numbers that are saying that its opening weekend was less than half of Tsushima, which for Tsushima to be an unknown from a good studio, yes, but an unknown and a project of the likes of which they'd never done before, especially in the market where Assassin's Creed is the big fish, but a fish that's gotten old and stale. But for this one to be a highly anticipated, not even sequel, but it was supposed to be a sequel, but it's more of a spin-off in the same universe kind of thing. For it to not do dramatically better than its predecessor just shows you how much the actress and the company themselves have shown their ass. That's got a lot to do with it. I guarantee you, it probably does 3/4 at best the opening month.
Point, but it is early on, right? It's been out
Probably
for
half,
a week
if
and
that.
change, but you'd think that Sony would have already started boasting about these numbers if it truly is doing
Exactly.
fantastic. Now, maybe they decided not to report on the 1 million sales because of that rumor that was circulating that the Access Media was running with from the X accounts with less than 10K followers, and they have no history of leaks or sales information, no ties to analytic firms or anything like that. Maybe they decided, oh, that number's already been spread across social media. We'll wait till 2 million, but that hasn't happened as quickly as they expected. Though we do know that while Ghost of Yotei is #1 in places like Japan and even physical game sales in the UK, it's still sold 40% less than Tsushima. And an analyst explains and reassures, saying, well, Tsushima came out towards the end of the PlayStation 4 era, back when there were way more consoles. And of course, you had the pandemic and all of these different things. I personally don't think that Yotei should have sold significantly less than Tsushima, 40% weaker at launch. That's a crazy drop because people loved Tsushima. And if this game had Shinsekai, you bet your bottom dollar it would be selling even better than the first one, because the first one was a brand new series from Sucker Punch who hadn't put anything out in years. I don't even remember there being a massive marketing campaign around it. And
I don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure. Yes. I'm pretty sure Spider-Man. Hold on. Was Marvel Spider-Man put out by Sucker Punch? Oh, never mind. I'm retarded. What are the big games before Ghost of Tsushima that Sucker Punch has released? Oh, Infamous and Sly Cooper. Okay. So I apologize for that. I am a retard, but
this game should have done significantly better, or at least on the same
Still a good
level,
track record.
and that's
Everyone
not
loves
the case
Infamous.
here. So while it might be #1, it's still selling 40% less than Tsushima in some reasons. But to top all of that off, the viewership for this has been insanely bad. On launch day, I actually had taken a screenshot on Twitch, and it was in 7th place, and it was behind games like League of Legends and CSGO, and games that are in some cases over a decade old, which is crazy. But
those
even
games have huge
after
followings.
that, when the marketing campaign clearly halted and all of the big streamers had done their sponsored stream and they didn't go back to it because they're not being paid to play and they didn't enjoy it enough to continue it, the viewership drastically tanked. Their Twitch viewership plummeted from their peak of 111K viewers to less than 13K in just 5 days. Google Trends shows a consistent decline even during the weekend, which is a worst case scenario for the game. Despite the initial surge of viewers, the viewership did not convert to sales or interest, likely due to an unimpressive state of the game. Rapidly declining interest indicates word of mouth marketing is failing, where most people who talk about the game on social media are urging people not to buy it. Promotional marketing stopped shortly after release. This indicates that they stopped any ad spending to maintain reserve cash on hand. Then the game fell out of
That's not a
trending
good
very
sign.
quickly on social media. Any promotion of
And that's what I'm saying. If it was doing anywhere near their projections, you would still be seeing advertisement for it. I mean, you are on some places. There's still they had paid out through X time. I think I saw. It might have been more than 4 or 5 days ago, and it only came out the previous Friday. I'm pretty sure.
of the game included aspects of the game that were not part of the core gameplay, such as bamboo cutting, fishing, and cooking. This indicates that the company knows its core gameplay was lacking and didn't meaningfully move the needle compared to Tsushima. Hardly any bots or paid shows promoting this game. Only people promoting the game are political activists who want to promote the woke agenda within the game, and this is all a very bad situation for Sony. Of course, a lot of this is like speculation that, word of mouth is declining, but we do see things like the interest over time already tanking, the viewership already tanking on platforms, and all I can really say is I'm not going to shed a tear for them. This is what happens when you basically give your core audience the middle finger and say, we don't respect you enough to continue your favorite character's story. We're replacing them. We are modernizing what could have been absolutely amazing series of titles. And if they really wanted a lead female protagonist, they could have just used Yuna. They could have continued that. They could have had Jin Sakai in the game, but you played as Yuna.
Oh, I would have played the shit out of anything with Yuna in it. Had a bit more stealthy than the Jin Sakai. Maybe even a spin-off DLC that we could even possibly still get. Wink, wink. The Tale of Yuna. I would. Maybe not a spin-off, but maybe a side story like the Miles Morales game. $30, $40 title. Let's do it.
They're fighting together side by side again. That could have been really cool, but that's not the direction they went in. And I don't even necessarily think fast forwarding the game, right? And that
In the original Ghost of Tsushima, they even had, I can't remember who it was. It was either Mei or Yuna. There was strongly hinted, maybe even if straight out said, but I'm pretty sure it was just strongly hinted at a lesbian love interest there. Nobody cared. Because every story in Ghost of Tsushima was beautifully done. The thing with his nanny, possibly having an affair with his father, Jin Sakai, speaking of. God, everything. Just gut-wrenching heartbreak after gut-wrenching heartbreak. The first game was... It will be considered a classic. If it's not tainted too much by Ghost of Yotei, but it will be considered a classic. Jin Sakai is definitely, he should be one of PlayStation's mascots.
then having it set, roughly 300 years after Tsushima is necessarily a bad idea if you had a character who was a descendant, who was carrying on his legacy, who, constantly talked about Jin and respected that legacy and tried to live up to it. That could be pretty cool, but that's not what they did, and it just failed to really capture most people's attention. And this is what happens when you start trying to appeal to a new audience, and Tsushima did so good. I mean, they literally became ambassadors of the island because they did such a phenomenal job and they were so respectful. They raised millions and millions and millions of dollars for restoration efforts, and oh my god, I loved everything about the first game, the way the developers acted and how respectful they were.
I agree. The original Ghost of Tsushima is gaming done right. It respected their traditions. It made sure that everything was historically accurate, something that Assassin's Creed Shadows did not do. They had Torii gates that were put up in the last 50 years in a story that took place hundreds of years ago. Because whoever the fuck they hired for cultural relevance or their historian or whatever put their activism first and just kind of glanced off at, or just meh, everything else. Again, you can have your activism. You can have your agendas or whatever. but the story must always come first. Always. Well, gameplay and story, but just like movies like John Wick, you can have your action be the main thing and your story be kind of secondary, but done in a way to where you feel you know what this person's doing and why he's kicking all these asses and shooting all these throats and faces.
And all of that goodwill did not carry into the sequel. So I'll definitely be covering Yote again in the future, I'm sure. I'm very curious to see if Sony is going to announce any sales figures, but at this point it seems like they are embarrassed by them and they are staying silent. But that's all that I really...
All right. So make sure you guys follow Vera. That's Vera Dark. Not that there's many of you that will even do that from here, but she is a very good content creator. She always has sources and shows all of them, and she kind of sounds like the lady from the radio from A League of Their Own, like the original one, just like, Mr. Harvey, just like your candy bars, you're clearly nuts. Again, beautiful girl, great at her craft, but just her voice sounds a little bit like that to me. It's unique, and you can definitely tell when you're listening to her, which is always important. It's good to be recognizable, and she certainly is. So show her some love. But that being said, we're going to move on to the Invincible trailer. And I do plan, if Ghost of Yote comes to PC and is ever below $40, I will probably buy it and play through it. But I'm currently playing through Ghost of Tsushima here, and especially more focused on, if you just want to see the gaming side of things, go to my Twitch. But continuing on with Invincible Season 4 teaser trailer.
Please tell me you're not going to eat that.
Huh? No, of course not. I'm just taking in the ambiance.
Ambiance?
Okay, pausing there for a second and continue.
Yeah.
You have to be big.
I love this place.
Said no one ever.
How dare you?
Why are we here, Mark?
Okay, 2 reasons. 1, it's the place where I tell everyone when I'm gonna be back in action, right? And 2, because I'm starving, since I just like single-handedly saved the Earth twice in the last 2 weeks.
Hey, don't.
Can you believe people used to complain that I could never win a fight?
What people?
You know.
I really don't.
My friend.
What was that?
My fans.
Your what?
My fans, okay?
What fans?
But they sure don't say that anymore, because first, I sent all those other me's packing. Get out of here, you handsome guys, I said.
Yeah, get out of here, you handsome guys.
And then when they didn't leave, I threw their thick, muscly buns right off my planet.
I'm pretty sure everyone else did that. There were like 30 of us out there.
And then I beat up Angstrom. Find a dimension where you're not a loser, I said, except that doesn't exist.
I really don't think you said that.
And then, this is the big one.
Oh, no, I totally
This
said
guy, I'm pointing at me, this guy kicked Conquest's ass. You remember that? Boom.
But did you?
He almost
I
ate that
mean,
burger.
did you?
Yeah. I mean, also turns out he was just very lonely.
Oh my God.
That factored in a
He
little
was
bit.
missing all his skin, Mark. I wonder how that happened.
You don't fight with your skin, Eve. Come on.
Well, while you've been busy taking all the credit, some of us have been busy getting ready for what's next.
Busy doing what?
Well, busy writing, designing.
Hey!
Yo! This is very meta. I do love the meta humor on this show. It's great. And I really hope everyone calls, Thrag Freddie Mercury like they do when they gush about the comics, because he looks like very muscular Freddie Mercury with that thick, beefy stash of his.
Storyboarding, voice acting, posing.
Cut! That's my thing. Only I get to handle those.
Like you handled Conquest?
He was very strong for an old man.
Okay then, finish it off.
Finish off what?
Whatever this is that we're doing. This is my first time. I can't believe you let Alan and Cecil do this before me.
Right, okay, can you
To be fair, they were bigger characters than you at the time.
do the card now? Do the card now!
Is it supposed to be blank?
This kind of stuff, it's not really... Eve, maybe you could...
You're so lucky we're dating now.
Hey, could you make me a new burger too, please?
I mean, that is
Extra
he
cheese
is,
with the
he is
pickles.
very lucky,
Maybe
because
one
we all know
You know, that mohawk...
they ruined Amber in the first season, not by making her black, by making her a twat waffle. She was the worst. In the book, Amber was a sweetheart, and you felt for her at every moment. In this, they made her awful for the first season, and then in season 2, they tried to make up for it before they said adieu to her character before she was fully replaced by Eve.
Version of you is looking better and better.
Wow, look at that. Check out the date. It's so soon. Get those Where's Season 5 William memes ready. Or don't, actually. I mean, enough is enough, am I right? Seriously, though, get excited. Season 4 is nuts.
And I can't. I'm pretty sure Amber was blonde in the comics. I might be mistaken. It's been a long, long time since I've read them. Well, at least the first compendium. It's been since it came out. But I'm really happy and surprised that they didn't replace the redhead like they're known to do, as far as, swapping the races. Because normally they take out gingers because no one cares about gingers for some reason. And that was replacing with black people. Like, just there's charts. Like, there's hundreds of cases of them replacing redhead characters with at least partially black characters. It's like I said, I don't care if they don't change the character, really, especially if it's a smaller character. I don't care. But honestly, I do think there should be more diversity in characters. But for that to happen, you have to have more diversity in writing staff, and you have to promote, getting good writers in there and all that. Just like Michelle Rodriguez almost got canceled for her saying, like, 10 years ago, if you want more black or Hispanic characters, you should make more black or Hispanic characters. I mean, Spawn is one of the biggest comic book characters of all time, and he's black. Created by a white dude, but he's black. And he was performed masterfully in a pretty crappy movie by Michael Jai White. Michael Jai White, who, of course, is an action star who's really into Tai Chi and such, who doesn't get nearly enough love. But continue.
Hey, maybe you win another fight.
Yeah, or two. Or all of them. Maybe I win all the fights.
I was upset about it, so now I am. I can't believe how much anger I had about this issue after it went viral. So you're here to...
All right, so yeah, this is Bill Burr going on a tour after he got back from the Qatar or Qatar, however you want to say it. I've heard it pronounced both for years, but this is him responding to all the backlash. Which, and most of the backlash, it's only for people who, for one, call Trump a fascist. And then they go to a place like Qatar, which still has, I think it's, top 4 as far as worldwide slaves. Isn't that also, I'm pretty sure that was the country, I might be wrong about this. Didn't Qatar have the Olympics or some shit? It might not have been. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. It wasn't the Olympics. It was fucking FIFA World Cup, where they imported slave labor to to build their fucking stadium to play the FIFA World Cup. I think, yeah, FIFA World Cup 2022. There it is. Right fucking there. Like this is, and I know I spelled Olympics wrong, fuck you, but this is what I'm talking about. Qatar, these are not good people. Wait, no, it's Saudi Arabia. Fuck me. Why am I? Oh yeah, Trump did the Qatar thing. I apologize. Forget I said that. Bill Burr did the festival in Saudi Arabia. They have the 4th highest slave labor count, but Qatar. And this is all in this whole thing, and I'm not going to be able to get to the Trump part of it, but I do not think that we should have a hostile, possibly international terrorist funding country building anything on one of our bases in America, especially when planes are involved. But no, Bill Burr, Saudi Arabia, 4th largest slaveholding country. Saudi Arabia slaves. Not only affected by modern slavery, it's one of the world's largest economies. Yeah. One of the world's largest economies that still equips slave labor. So, yeah, high five. Anyway, let's continue with this because I'm running out of time.
To apologize. No.
I love how he literally added a laugh track to the back of his own clip that he posted himself.
Not at all. It was one of the most amazing experiences I've had as a comedian. It was incredible.
Keep in mind this, and keep in mind what he and several other hard lefties, including some of the comedians that went to Saudi Arabia, what they said about Tucker Carlson, and they were right to say it, because Tucker Carlson fucking fluffing Vladimir Putin in Russia because they had a nice grocery store is fucking retarded.
What was the best part is my whole life is I've been paranoid about the news. Like I watch the news and I always go like, this doesn't feels like they're, you know, they're moving stuff around, they're shifting it. So to actually kind of be in the middle of one of those stories and actually confirm it and watching them lying their ass off, saying there was no women there, which was a lie. It was just great to be at home.
Bro, no one's saying there's no women there. Bro, you went to Saudi Arabia after shouting at Trump for being a fascist. Dude, after shouting at Trump for being a fascist, you went to fucking Saudi Arabia. Bro, after saying kill billionaires, right? Bill Burr went on Notorious Crash Out saying we got to kill all the billionaires. Bro, you're okay with trillionaires. Dude, the Qatar, the fucking Saudi Arabia royal family are literal trillionaires. You know they have slaves. They have slaves. You're calling Trump a fascist? You go to a fucking dance in front of slave master trillionaires? Oh, please. Oh, you virtue signaling cock.
I'm like, I knew it. I knew they were lying.
All right.
It's not all right. It's really fucked up that they do that.
You sound like anyone's uncle yelling at the TV.
All right, so Bill Burr has been trying to address the Riyadh Comedy Festival controversy, and he...
These are great. This looks like Mr. Dickey from, I can't remember what he's on, but anyone who watches clips knows. But I love how small YouTubers will put things out. This one's based off of something that Mr. Philip Chan put out over Ghosts of Yote. They gave her a huge bust, and now they're doing it with, what's that, Leon Kennedy with, the kid who's got the scary jaw now. Anyway, I got to click off that because that's freaking.
All right, let's go.
Himself any favors with this. I mean, this feels even more insulting than him actually doing the festival. You know, I'd respect it more if he just like...
I mean, if dude, I said this in my first video, but if dude literally just is like, all right, I'm doing it because they're paying me millions, but like these guys are kind of assholes, I would respect him more.
Which is what Pete Davidson did. People were giving Pete Davidson shit because Saudi Arabia has been linked for decades now to the 9/11 attacks. And Pete Davidson, whose father was a firefighter who died in 9/11, did the Saudi Arabia show. And when they asked him why he did it, he said, I looked at the routing number and then I saw all the zeros on the check and it had a number in front of it that wasn't a zero. And I was just like, yeah, I'll go. I respect that. Pete Davidson has made fun of the fact that his father died in 9/11 for his whole career. The guy's got a great sense of humor. But one of the ways I'd myself do this, that people cope with tragedy in their lives, is comedy, is finding a way to make it funny, which is why I hold Pete Davidson in much higher regard than most other comedians, especially those around him on Saturday Night Live, who haven't really known any tragedy, most of the rest of them, but they act like they do.
Listen, it was too much money to turn down. That's why I did it. Because instead, he's trying to act like this was a virtuous thing he did. And if you criticize it, you're the self-righteous one.
That's it, baby. That's welcome to woke scolding. All right, when the wokey tells you, no, actually, when Hassan Piker electrocutes his dog, he's actually pro-Palestine, though. He's actually pro-Palestine. So I don't care that he electrocutes his dog.
He kept saying that when he addressed on his podcast. And Conan O'Brien's, he did a live show with Conan, and people apparently walked out during it. It was
wow.
That bad. Because in between Burr acting like the people criticizing him are the ones virtue signaling, you talk about how if you actually care about Saudi Arabia and the people there, you'd realize this was a positive thing he did. He really acts like this was some.
I mean, he's actually doing propaganda for them. It's really obvious. He's going out saying, I expected it to be really bad, but everyone was super nice, and everything was so nice, and the streets were clean, and everything was so nice.
Yeah.
They literally execute journalists for free speech in Saudi Arabia.
They literally killed, again, what was it, Jamal Khashoggi? Shit. Journalisty murdered by Saudi Arabia. I know I typed like an old man, fuck off. Jamal Khashoggi. Yes. He was lured into, or possibly some people say dragged into, the Saudi Arabian consulate in Turkey, I think it was. He had been very anti-Saudi in his writings. He wrote for an American newspaper. I can't remember which one off the top of my head. Maybe it says But yeah, he was arrested, convicted of terrorism and treason charges by Saudi Arabia, and murdered in 2018. He was dragged into a consulate and never seen again by Saudi Arabia. People talk about Jimmy Kimmel getting shut down for a couple of days because he said something that was factually untrue, not even for a joke. And he's still saying things that are factually untrue, saying that Antifa isn't real. And notice, remember that thing that came out probably 4 or 5 years ago that had all these different news stations saying the exact same scripted shit? I can't remember what it was about. Whether it was left-wing or right-wing, it doesn't matter. What matters is they're saying it verbatim. They're saying the same thing about Antifa. Verbatim. I don't have the clip for it right now, but I can get it. I will get it. I'm making a note. I will have it this week, at least for the Saturday show. But there is clips out there of several news stations all saying the exact same thing. Antifa doesn't exist. They've never existed. And the people who are saying this have photos of themselves pre-AI on their own X/Twitter accounts with them holding the Antifa handbook.
Like public decapitation
don't
of
care
a
about
guy
things.
for speaking ill of the regime.
I do
Bro,
care if you don't know anything and you
don't
insist on
need
speaking
to
about
sit
them.
there and do your best to make believe and propaganda is us that it was a beautiful place. We know.
Philanthropic work he was doing over there
That's
and
right.
to progress their country. And of course, never mentions all the money he got paid to go over there by the royal family, and doesn't mention the human rights violations they commit. So it's impossible to take him seriously anymore. I mean, even at one point.
After years of progress on gender, the male gaze is back. This is posted by Shoe on Head. Terrible news. After a decade of trying to socially engineer what men find attractive, they still find attractive women attractive. Shoe on Head is incredibly based. She's basically where I am politically. She's got some socialist connections. I do as well. A few socialist programs here and there are good as long as they're done right. But where I draw the line, like we should take care of our older community and sick community, but at the same time, 65 is kind of a weird cutoff, especially since the baby boomers are about to retire and we're going to lose everything. Everything. I'm glad my mom and people like her are getting to live a little bit now that they're too old to really enjoy it. I love you, Mom. Sorry. But it's true. I mean, come on. You still very much enjoy it. But at the same time, it's like, man, I wish I could wear shoes with laces on them because I don't have them because it's hard for me to get down there and then get back up after it. But, and then, of course, Tectone saying what he likes. I wonder if all the blue-haired lesbians will kill themselves when they realize they are a product of straight sex. Yeah, Tectone. He's a shit poster. He's very funny most of the time. Come on, Tone. He's been offline for a while. God help us.
during this podcast when he's trying to be serious and talk about how they help progress over there. I'm pretty sure you can hear someone in the crowd laugh at him.
And to their credit, they said, all right, what do we got to do? And they basically whittled it all the way down to you couldn't talk about any religion, theirs, yours, anybody else's, and you couldn't make fun of the royals. That was it. And I know a lot of people are like, well, that's fucked up, man. It's like, well, they just progressed the ball like 10 yards, and it was amazing. And we...
Ah, yes, it's progress, because now they don't let you make fun of any religion.
Well, and that's the funny thing. Because, again, what you went to, I'm pretty sure, is illegal in Saudi Arabia for common folk. You were doing as you always do these days, Bill, preaching to the elites. The same way you do at all those little award shows that you go to of late, the same way that you do at the Saudi Arabian Comedy Festival in Riyadh. My God. But yes, people are laughing at things that are illegal to laugh at in that country. And they allowed women to go to the show, but unlike Whitney Cummings and a couple of other women that were there, they were not free to speak or dress as they wish. So
we get there, it's like in the round, and I'm waiting to go on, and everybody in the crowd is dressed like fucking Yasser Arafat, right? Listen, what went going on over there was a super positive thing. If you actually give a fuck about those people and how they're living over there, there's gonna have to be these types of things to kind of pull them in. And
Bro, you didn't go see how the people are living over there. You went to the palace because trillionaire royalty invited you.
Yes.
And now you're literally doing a propaganda circuit because you can't take that L.
you are Tucker Carlson visiting the Kremlin and hanging out with Vladimir Putin and going to grocery stores and being like, oh, this is nice, you guys. Yeah, do this to Ukraine. He didn't say that part, but Jesus. This is retarded. You cannot go on a propaganda tour with the leaders of these horrible countries. The same thing with like Dennis Rodman and Sean Penn going to places like North Korea. For God's sake. It's literally the way it was on that movie, The Interview, and yet people will still try to fucking dick ride Kim Jong-un. At least they did until Trump went over there and said hi to him and walked across the line. Then they're like, oh, no, he's a terrorist. You didn't care 5 minutes ago.
Oh,
like seeing these people flip on a dime due to the whims of Trump. And whether you do this in Trump's favor or against Trump on everything that you stand for, you are retarded. There is no working around it. If every decision, if every opinion that you have weighs on President Trump, whether it's for or against, never Trumpers and always Trumpers are equally infuriating and equally sheep, then I have nothing to say to you. I'm okay with people liking Trump. I'm okay with people hating Trump. But the fact that everyone who hates him won't even say like, peace in the Middle East. Yeah, that's good. Or people that love him won't be like, I don't know about Qatari Air Base in fucking Idaho where they train and they pretty much run a big section of the base. No. I don't have any time for either of these people. You base someone, and you can dislike someone for the majority of their presidency, or you don't like what he says verbally, but you're okay with his policy, which is kind of what I've been for Trump for the most part. I don't like a lot of the things he says. Some things I find hilarious, like everything he says about Israel, where he's just like, these people have been doing this for so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. That is pure cinema, 100%. But it drives me crazy where people wake up and they just wait for Trump to have an opinion on something so they know what to think about it. Whether it's for or against, again, you are equally pathetic.
Hey man, they have a Chili's over there. Big Burr's next gig, United Healthcare corporate gig. Hey, once you know the top brass is not, they're just dudes, just like us.
I will tell you, the Cheesecake Factory in Riyadh, man, it's incredible. It's right next to the Pizza Hut and the KFC. And if you want a pair of Timberlands, it's across the street next to the Marriott, catty corner to the fucking Hilton. Like, things like this have to happen.
Dude performing in North
In
Korea.
order to-
Dude, they had a fucking grocery store full stocked. Everyone was smiling. Everyone had the same haircut. It was sick, dude.
They weren't
can't
walking,
be evil.
but
They
they were
have a
sitting there in the
Burger
window
King.
waving at me.
Oh
It's like
my
fucking Home Alone. These
God.
people are
I
confused by
love the
Home
mass
Alone.
awakening of America. Can I just say, this shit would not fly a couple years back. They'd be called Islamophobic or racist. I am so happy that people are realizing, yeah, actually, there are these sand people that literally want to fucking kill us. Okay, obviously it's not everyone. Again,
Yeah, I wouldn't say
hyperbolizing
that,
and
but I
joking.
have heard
It's
worse.
obviously not everyone, but it is the radicals that literally want to conquer the country. They say it themselves. This isn't me.
gradually like progress, and then you know,
that's hilarious.
it was necessary. It felt right afterward. Like I really, and it really was like the people, and I vibed with them, and they were funny.
Yeah, so Bill's critics just don't understand. He really did
So yeah, they were trillionaire royalty slavers, but I
Yeah.
vibe with them. They were funny.
Yeah, I'm vibing
this
with them.
because
They
he's
were
a man
throwing
of the
chunks of
people.
cash at
Like,
me
it's
for
actually
saying
really brave
things
and
that they,
progressive to get paid a ton of money
signed
by
off
a
on.
corrupt government, and then
It's so brave and woke to get $2 million to dance like a monkey in front of royals in a nation where there's still slavery, while you sit
Bill
in your
Burr's
glass
lost.
house on your fucking...
Literally, the last thing that Bill Burr said of consequence before he flipped on everybody was his Saturday Night Live monologue where he talked about his white bitches. That's literally the last thing that he said of any substance.
platform and on your podcast where you get 10,000 views an episode and you scream and yell platitudes about how Donald Trump is a fascist.
do positive PR for them and ignore their use of slave labor. You know, you won't hear old Billy Bonesaw joke about that at all, because then he'll never get a check from the Saudis again. Like, Tim Dillon proved that was off limits. Yeah, at least he was being honest and didn't censor himself.
U.S. Connington Dillon says Saudi Arabia fired him from Comedy Festival over jokes about slavery. Too awkward, too awkward.
And he's being too honest.
And that would have been me. Look, Tim Dillon said a lot of things that I disagree with. I think he's a bit of a shill, but he says what the fuck he means. He says what the fuck he wants. And sometimes he'll take the money, and sometimes he won't. But you know, that would be me. I would have gotten kicked off of a registry for making jokes about how these motherfuckers who want to pay me $500,000 to $2 million to come and tell some jokes got mad because I said some jokes about how they still have slaves.
He literally said he's just doing it for the money, and he's being paid to look the other way when it comes to slave labor and human rights violations. So that shows ignoring that stuff is part of the deal, and Bill knows that. You know, because usually he has no problem making fun of countries and making fun of the people there and their government and how they
Unless you're bought.
do things. And he used to do that with Saudi Arabia, but now...
Like if it was me and I actually got to go to the show and I didn't get murdered while I was there, I would probably do something hilarious, like publicly donate to something that I know they hate with the exact amount of money that they gave me. Like donating to the IRA, or the Israeli, or what's the Israeli military called? Them, or like LGBT, or something that I think that they would just be like, oh, that motherfucker. Anyway.
Oh, that they're paying him, it's a different story. Like, now he'll just make a couple lighthearted jokes and then talk about how amazing his experience was and how great the people and culture are. And then he'll act like...
I'll be real, that was $1 million very well spent from the fucking Saudi royalty. I mean, they bought themselves a pundit in America.
A problem with him performing there, it's because you're a racist idiot that can't find Saudi Arabia on a map. Like, also to cope, he starts talking about how corrupt every country he performs in is. But of course, he never mentions the big differences. He's getting paid by the Saudi government.
Yeah, America's corrupt and I perform here. A, you're not paid by America.
Yeah.
And B, America is not nearly as corrupt as fucking Saudi Arabia. Are you retarded?
To ignore the
Yeah, and most of these people are people who protested doing any performance for Trump. A lot of them. Some of them voted for Trump. Looking at you, Andrew Schultze, and a couple other ones, but who are now like, oh man, He's doing all the things he said he was going to do. I don't know about that.
Corruption there. And then also he talks about how Iceland is a more ethical country. But then he's like, it's kind of weird over there, though. And then he makes a joke about how there's a
'cause
lot
it's all
of
white.
inbreeding in Iceland, and they need an app to help prevent against it. And the audience
Are you fucking retarded? There's inbreeding in Saudi Arabia. Bro, there's inbreeding in like all of the Muslim majority countries.
Yeah.
That is a severe...
This is true. You're allowed to marry your cousin, I'm pretty sure, and a good percentage of Islamic countries. These are facts. This is not Islamophobia or anything like that. These are facts. They're a different culture. What can I say?
Your problem in all of these countries. Oh my God.
does not seem to like that, probably because he just spent 15 minutes shilling for Saudi Arabia and ignoring that country,
Saudi Arabia, great. No issues at all. Iceland, inbreeding.
which ironically is one of the most inbred countries. But
True. What did I just tell you? High consanguinity rates. Consanguineous marriages between blood relatives are widespread culturally accepted tradition in Saudi Arabia. Rates of 57.7%. First cousin marriages being the most common type. Yikes.
gave him a fat check, so he'll never joke about that and would probably say you're racist if you mention that. So he's just hard to listen to now. You know, he's totally bought and paid for. Also, after the crowd gets upset about what he says about Iceland, he mocks them for being overly sensitive and dumb Americans that couldn't even find Iceland on a map.
Everybody can just, you know, they release the bots so they can just keep it going. And
Did you know?
I love when everyone gets criticized and their first response is like, oh, it's just millions of bots that are upset at me, and not like actual human beings that realize I'm a gigantic piece of shit that sold our country out.
I am happy that
Did you have an inkling before you went to Riyadh? Did you or the other comedians have any sense that there'd be this kind of response when you got back?
No, I had no fucking idea. Because you know what was funny? One time I did Abu Dhabi, and one person texted me, oh, you're going over there to get that blood money, right? And I go, hey, you know, just for the record, I'm also doing London, England on that tour, you know, which is arguably the bloodiest fucking money out there. So there's like...
I fucking despise the people that will...
Look. Yes, Britain has a long, bloody history. Yes, a lot of it just ended like 70... Shit, like 40 years ago for some of it. I think the India section of it was the last one to give up. But to act like there's a difference between something that's currently fucking happening and something that is history is disingenuous and retarded. I'm sorry. I know I've been using that word a lot today. I had a really shitty weekend. I apologize. That capped off an even shittier, well, not even shittier, but equally shitty week. It's ridiculous.
Wake up and feel like, yeah, I'm gonna say that the West is actually the worst nations. Dude, there is no moral equivalence here at all. Are you insane? This is crazy. Western civilization is goated, all right? And these people want to destroy it. They absolutely do. And this weird pathological alliance between the radical Islamists and the radical wokeists are fucking... it's terrifying. It really is.
That element of racism to it where if brown people are doing it, it's fucked up.
No. That's not it. Because if white people are currently doing it at this moment, this year, this month, this week, today, everyone's against it. Everybody. When it's actually happening. But that's not what we're talking about. You're bringing up like fucking slavery in America. You're bringing up Jim Crow. That's something that happened when most of us weren't even alive. Some of us were. And I'm sure you were, you old fuck. But slavery in America and acting like America today is worse than it was during the Jim Crow era South or slavery South is ridiculous. Like, to see Britain and to see how much of a fucking 180 sprint in the opposite direction kind of shit that they've done to where they've pretty much turned over the whole country to people like he's kissing their ass right now is retarded. I'm sorry.
White people are doing it. What are you talking about? You know,
there are still slaves today. Millions
in Saudi
Arabia.
Yes.
Like, this is not the same as London. Well,
fourth largest current slaveholders of all time. Currently, there are more slaves today, and that's partly because of the increase in population. Yes, sure. But there are more slaves today than there have ever been. Ever. None of them are in European countries. I'm pretty sure Japan and a few Hispanic countries are the only other ones that can say that. I mean, let's be real.
I mean, to be honest, maybe it is the same as London. London is also slowly becoming a Muslim majority country. But like, what are you talking about?
Almost like sports. So, yeah, my team doesn't cheat. Your fucking team cheats. So, I mean, if we're going to do the blood money game, I think the only countries I've ever played in that is clean money was New Zealand and I think Iceland. But then Iceland is weird, where over there they have an app, a dating app, that doesn't say, you know, if you're related, it's how. Because they're all part of the same thing over there. It's true.
Wait, that's not a joke.
That's not a joke. It's fucking true.
Yeah.
Look at you guys. Oh, now he's going after Iceland. Now I'm really upset with that place. I don't really quite know where it is. That's the English.
Sorry. There's a post here. It's on my phone. Antifa member catches fascist. It's literally a fox biting his own tail wrapped around a tree. And then this dipshit says, it's a sounding that people don't understand what the anti-prefix means. We know what it means. And then me, being the wonderful guy I am, clarified for him. As I always do, I said, it astounds me how many retards like yourself look at the name Antifa or People's Republic. I said of instead of or, my bad. Sorry, I got to correct this before people see it, or else they might think I'm retarded. Like Antifa or People's Republic of North Korea and be like, seems legit. I can call myself Long Dick Willie. Don't make it true. Sorry. But, okay. Going to play a few more seconds of this so I don't end this on me calling myself Long Dick Willie.
That's Isle of Man. That's fucking Iceland. So, no, I'm...
Yikes, this is not going over well. You hear the audience is just dead silent.
What all these phony fucking people are saying. My thing is I go out to perform in front of fucking people, and like as I've been traveling the world, I want to see more of it. And the thing that I loved about going to these Arab countries is that their sense of humor, they're silly. They're really silly. And I'm a silly...
Yeah, they're fucking trillionaires. They can afford to be silly, while all these silly slaves are out there. They're all silly billies.
It's wild.
Fuck
I love these Arab guys. They're just so goofy and silly until you insult me and then they behead me. But aside from that, they're just a ball of laughs.
He mocks the audience there for being too sensitive and then talks about how the Saudis have a great sense of humor, even though there's clearly a lot of topics he would never joke about over there and not even joke about
say
here
anything
because he
about the
wants
Crown
to
Prince.
continue
Say it right
going over
fucking
there.
now.
And it's funny because I'm sure them inbreeding is probably one of those topics. So if Bill really wants to prove that they have a great sense of humor, let's see him make fun of them for inbreeding next time he's over there.
I mean, this is the joke everybody makes. It's like, and by the way, this is like a classic woke shit. It's like they will make parodies and insult Jesus and Christianity as much as they possibly want, right? Everything in Christianity.
Which I'm fine with. I'm fine. If you want to make fun of any religion or atheist or theist or atheist, whatever, make fun of them. I don't care. I do not care. And most of them don't either. Let's be honest. We all know that there's Karens out there. But the mainstream ones, like Charlie Kirk, saw himself being parodied on South Park. It was probably the crowning achievement of his whole fucking career.
Christianity is fair game to joke about. But joking about Islam or Allah? Oh, hell no. They will never do any of that.
No.
And it's every single time. It's every time. It's because that's okay. Because those Christians, they'll just turn the other cheek. The Muslims might kill me, but the Christians will turn the other cheek.
Which things like Charlie Hebdo prove that they will. Look, guys, I know this was kind of a downer. I apologize for my behavior and that I'm extra. It had been a good week, and the weekend just capped off. I'm surprised I hadn't capped off. I'm sorry, that's horrible. Don't worry about anything like that, but it has not been. It's probably the worst weekend I've ever had, or at least in the last 10 years. But I'm still here. I'm still kicking. I might be a little more aggro than normal, and I apologize for that. Yeah, but you know me. For those of you that actually know me, you know I'll come back around. I always pull through. That's what I do. But that's it for today. Look, guys, I'll be back on tonight. I'm either going to do Poppy's Playtime or I'm going to jump back onto... I'm not going to lie. I'm feeling really nostalgic, and Poppy's Playtime wasn't meshing with me. Hello Neighbor wasn't really my vibe, mostly because I suck at it. But I might fuck. What even was that game? Shit. Outlast. Fuck me. I might jump on Outlast. It's been a long time, and my sound was pretty fucked up for that whole game. So I might jump on that tonight for my Halloween stuff. Sorry about the false start last week. But now that I have nothing else to do, I'll probably be streaming twice a week Outlast until I finish it. And then I might add a game during the week where I'm playing fucking Ghost of Tsushima to make up for the fact that I was too out of sorts to play it over the weekend. So catch that, especially if you only want to see the gaming stuff, it's on Twitch. If you want to see everything everywhere all at once, then here I am on YouTube and Kick, and coming soon. If I can get anyone to follow me on Rumble, and I can get, I think it's 5 Rumble followers, then I can start streaming over there. And that Rumble will probably just be the political stuff. Eventually, I'll probably just do political stuff on... Well, YouTube will have everything until if I ever get anywhere. But, and then I start making separate channels. But, yeah, Twitch is going to be all gaming, and I'm going to do Rumble is all political and serious or comedy stuff. But if you have an Amazon, throw it to me on Twitch, please. Throw me a follow on Rumble so I can get started over there. If you've been here this long, please give the video a like. I very much appreciate it. I need all the help I can get. As you can see, I'm spiraling. I'm spiraling so fast. Call me Spiral the Dragon. That doesn't make any sense. But that being said, y'all, please make sure you take care of yourselves. Look, no matter, and I know I'm having a rough time right now, and I know some of you are too, but please know that this is not the end of anything. You can pull through. You have the technology. You've made it this far. And I know you can make it further. You can pull yourself out of anything. All you have to do is believe in yourself and try. The trying is the hardest part, because some days you don't want to. I sure didn't want to pull myself out of bed and do this morning, but the weekday shows are very important. The weekend shows I do for funsies, because I know a lot of people very much enjoy them. I get more views on the weekend shows, at least on the weekend gaming shows, than I do anywhere else. Just like the weekday shows, I get more on the political things, usually Tuesdays and Thursdays, than I do any other thing. But just keep hope alive.